Welcome to the second half of Half-Life 2. Its 8th chapter begins just after you've driven over the large bridge, but the first half of this chapter is just the same as the 7th, with you driving along the coast in a dune buggy. In this next tunnel is a scary fight against waves of zombies. If you're quick enough, you can clear the way and drive on without having to hang around, but I doubt you'd manage that on your first playthrough. Ahead at this house, the Combine are burning bodies. Inside this building is a nasty surprise. Those electrified balls come crashing through the ceilings, making your escape more difficult. You must then clear several outposts. The first is just full of enemies. But the second is attacked by enemies. And then you must find the batteries to open the gate. I believe they're hidden in different places every time. I've heard all sorts of stories from people who don't realise they've got to do this and they end up building their own bridges out of stuff to drive over the top of the gate, or they simply give up and leave their vehicle here. It doesn't really matter since the coast section ends soon after, which Valve might have done intentionally. You help the rebels to fend off several dropships full of Combine, then you head on over to the lighthouse to take out the gunship from the top. With that done, a rebel takes you by the hand and leads you down into the basement. He opens a secret door and you're on your way again. This is when the 8th chapter starts for real, in my opinion, and was exactly halfway through my 6-hour playthrough. It starts with a true tragedy, as the finest mind of his generation is killed by an antlion.
Poor Laszlo! The finest mind of his generation!
In case you hadn't gathered, stand on the sand and the antlions attack you. This is an excellent opportunity to showcase Half-Life 2's physics, as you hop from rock to rock and improvise with props when needs be. You can make it through this whole section without a single fight, but it's hard and takes time. I did my best to stay off the sand, but on a few occasions briefly touched it and an enemy would burst out of the sand to get me. What you really want is this wood prop here. It's the longest thing in the game and is ideal not just for bridging gaps, but for climbing up cliffs and other vertical obstacles. But nothing will help you in this next bit, which is when you fight the antlion's mum, or something. This monster will take a lot of damage before it goes down, so you're best off strafing and launching objects at it with a gravity gun. At least then you won't deplete your ammo. Once it's beaten, a Vortigaunt comes out of the base and extracts some pods from it. Since the antlions hunt on smell, having these things make them think that you're their mum, and they'll do whatever you want them to. It's a brilliant moment in gaming, to suddenly tip the balance by transforming your enemies into allies to fight against a greater threat. This base is little more than an elaborate training montage as you're shown how to throw and to squeeze these pods to direct the antlions on where to go. You have unlimited pods, and unlimited antlions at your disposal. And just like that, you head off to take Nova Prospekt. As you head along this beach, you must disable these thumpers, as the antlions refuse to go near them while they're on. At times, it might be easier to shoot the enemies myself, but I enjoy this segment too much to do that, and instead enjoy commanding my army of aliens to do my dirty work for me. As the sun sets, I approach the cliffs beneath the prison and start my climb. This sequence is also awesome, as antlions fly over the walls and destroy the guard posts. Two gunships appear, which require you shoot down with rockets. Then it's time to enter the building, turning valves to extinguish flames. This chapter starts slowly as you explore this complex, encountering three-legged gun turrets, which will be a recurring feature in the coming levels. There's a rather nasty room full of headcrabs. Then you've got to drop down into the showers, and onto another boss battle. With the boss defeated, you become the new one, and can start your assault on this base with your army of manipulated insects. This generally involves approaching a heavily fortified position, using the antlions as meat shields. Then you take out the gun turrets and flick a switch to open up the next area. This bit's unique though. You take a break from the action to go through the vents, and must find a way of getting through this fan. Then there's more fighting as you head higher and higher up towards the control room. Now on through the laundry room, then through the kitchen. Up into another control room, and down for one last boss fight. This is an odd bit where you find yourself between two rows of Combine walls. These things slowly creep along, crushing anything in their way, expanding the Combine's territory. If you're not fast enough in this bit, then you end up getting crushed by them yourself. The second half of your trip to Nova Prospekt is with Alex. Clearly, Valve thought this was one of the strongest bits of the game because they elaborated on this further in episode 1, which is mostly spent with a companion. The goal here is to rescue her father, Eli. This chapter clearly shows Alex's handy multi-tool and all-in-one pistol, which would be so cool if they were one day playable. She finds Eli somewhere inside the prison, which is kind of like the human equivalent of WinZip. You see some lovely daughter-father interaction in this scene, and soon you're left on your own again, with Alex hacking the control panels to help open the doors and to warn you of when the Combine are approaching. This is what I describe as a grenade segment of the game. Yes, you can use guns, but a few well-placed grenades will help immensely in dealing with the headcrabs, then later the Combine, then later the puzzles, then last the gun turrets. Eventually you reach this control room, which is the first of 3 holdouts you've got to do with just a few friendly gun turrets for company. I never realised before, but they've gone and done the same with these turrets as they did with the antlines in the previous chapters. I always found these holdouts to be some of the hardest parts of the game. The turrets can be useful, but Combine heads straight for them to knock them over and can use grenades to great effect against them. I chose to keep them close to the main room so that I could easily pick them up again if they went down. All was going well until I blew myself up with a grenade just here.
Sorry.
Hold out for long enough and Alex drops into the room and hacks a computer, discovering that Judith is a traitor and is working for the Combine.
You would have had Freeman if you— Damn her! I don't believe this!
Eventually she lets the barriers down and you head off to the basement for a room that's more like something from Half-Life 1. The water's electrified, but these blue barrels can be used to build a bridge to safety. Now for the second holdout, this time with 3 turrets at your disposal. I put them all in corners to make them more difficult to knock over, then if things got really difficult I hid in these metal things for cover. Alex arrives, just a bit too late to help again, and clears the way into a dark basement. I took 2 gun turrets with me for fun. It's down here that all the lights are turned off, and you're both attacked by more Combine. Turns out it's quite fiddly to fit these turrets down some of the corridors you traverse. You're eventually spotted, but Alex is able to lock the doors down before the Combine reach you. And now it's time to confront Mossman.
Leave it talking to me, Gordon. We may need her to get out of here. Shut up and be glad you're still some use to us. Let's get going.
The next room is a large teleport chamber where you set up for the final holdout against waves of Combine, as people are teleported out of the room one by one. But unsurprisingly to anyone watching, Judith uses this opportunity to betray Alex by slipping into the teleport with Eli and teleporting off to an unknown location.
I'm sorry, Alex. Get back!
What's going on,
Dad!
Alex? Judith!
No!
What's happening?
You and Alex again have to survive until the teleport thing can recharge. I was looking forward to this with my 5 gun turrets, but something in the game broke and after the first wave, no more Combine came.
Get the hell out of here!
You hop on the teleport with Alex and the 2 of you teleport back to Dr. Kleiner's lab.
Hold on!
But a week has passed. It turns out the Combine have invented the slowest teleport ever. While you've been gone, your actions in Nova Prospekt sparked an uprising and the city now finds itself in a state of war. You and Dog rush off to help the rebels to reach the Citadel. This chapter starts with Dog showing how OP he is. And just like that, you're left on your own again as you trace your path back along the corridors you visited early in the game. Upon reaching this open courtyard, a bunch of rebels choose to follow Gordon, and you're given a quick tutorial on how to boss them about.
Ah! Like that!
This next courtyard is infested with mines. Don't get too close to them or they'll hop up at your face and explode. But pick them up with a gravity gun and they become your friend, ready to be used against the enemies. You then encounter a Strider set to battle mode. After a few back alley encounters, you meet more rebels, and together you storm a building.
Hold down this spot.
Here, patch yourself up.
Then down into the street and through a destroyed building to get around the back of the Combine outpost. There are a lot of enemies, but they're the easiest civil protection type. You have less armour and weaker weapons than those found in Nova Prospekt. You battle your way down to an underground, partially collapsed tunnel and fend against waves of manhacks, which is made so much easier with the gravity gun. As rebels work to clear the way ahead, you can man a gun turret to help mow down the attacking Combine soldiers. Don't know what's happened in the next room, but there's been a massive toxic leak, and you must hop from cover to cover, dodging the zombies hidden beneath the surface. Finishing this, you open a door to let the rebels through and head back to the surface again. Now you reach a neighbourhood that's very much ready to take on the Combine. There are many rebel fighters in these parts, with makeshift bridges and a good selection of arms. It's a real maze as you go up and through these buildings. Combine shelling has resulted in a three-way fight, with aliens in most of the rooms.
Take this medkit.
This whole section really does take a while, but it's full of fun, close-quarters engagements. It ends with you going over one of these makeshift bridges and into a completely bombed out house. In the next house along, you meet up with Alex again, who's ready to join with you to push on to the Citadel.
Gordon!
But first, they need to take a command post downstairs. You fight your way out to the street, and your team of rebels must defend her as she hacks a Combine barrier. This goes on for a while as wave after wave of Combine attacks your position, but you have plenty of allies, supplies, and cover to help. The two of you push on, closing the barrier behind you and dooming the rebels to their deaths. Up ahead, the road is destroyed, so Alex climbs a building to scout ahead. But oh no, she's captured by the Combine, leaving you alone yet again. The next area I can best describe as a well-lit Nova Prospekt. You fight against manhacks, clear some cool physics, probably placed in to showcase the game during the teasers. You head down this death trap of a staircase, then through a hugely infested sewer bit. There are a few cool set-piece things here, which I'll show you. Then you get into this massive warehouse, with the goal being to reach the top. It takes a while, using lifts and ladders while fighting increasingly difficult Combine soldiers. You hear that Barney is pinned down in a house down the road by snipers. Suddenly, your rebel followers seem utterly pointless as they're mowed down by snipers in a matter of seconds. You can quite easily beat them by employing some Foon-style bunny hopping as you erratically hop from cover to cover, until you make it into the basement. And the greatest Half-Life 2 deathmatch level of all time.
Somebody up there! Help me!
This poor guy isn't in good shape, and you soon learn why. You then head up through the building to Barney and have at your disposal an unlimited supply of grenades to take down the snipers with.
How about a grenade?
Together, you head through some alleyways until you come across this impressive looking building. This is the Nexus building, now a hub for Combine activity.
It's the main source of...
You head down into the street and must face another predictive weapon attack, only this one's a bit more impressive looking than the snipers. This suppression device is kind of like an iron cannon that fires a massive beam down in whichever direction you're moving. So again, you must bunny hop from cover to cover as you clear out buildings on your way to the Nexus. While I don't like this Combine rifle much, its secondary fire does come in handy in situations like these. Now in the Nexus, your goal is to find your way from room to room, disabling the force fields until you make it to the roof. There are 3 power generators that need disabling. This bit of the game takes quite a while. There are these gun turrets hidden in the floor, which a well-placed grenade can take out. The first power generator is easy, but the ones after are in quite memorable rooms with various puzzles and enemy encounters in. Honestly, I still get lost in this building. It's a maze. The second room is quite literally a laser maze. Activate them and you'll get shot up by the turrets, so you've got to creep through the room, scaling cover and disabling trip mines. With that one down, it's on to the third room. You and your team get sealed inside, and Combine begin breaking through the doors and shooting through the cracks around the outside. With all those disabled, you fight your way to a stairwell and up onto the roof of the building. Up here you fight a gunship. You can also take out the Striders in the streets below, but they're only replaced by others. You face a few waves of Combine soldiers along this roof, then drop down into the street again to fight your way back through the open plaza. this time with striders everywhere to make your life more difficult. One of these chases you into the next level and you fight your way up several stories with the strider continually trying to get a good shot on you. You can take it out, but I just moved on to the next level. You face some hard fighting in the next area, both above and below ground, all the while dodging strider attacks. This is when the game really throws everything it has at you, though you have a continual supply of fresh rebels to cope with it all. This ends with a fight from this rooftop. Take out the 2 striders and your route to the Citadel is cleared. You head towards the horse statue.
Head for the horse!
Then meet up with Dog again, who proves to be quite useful.
Wait for me, Freeman. How come
I think he's looking for Alex. He seems to have it set in his head that she's in the Citadel. You can't get through that way. I think he wants you to go through, Gordon. You'd better hurry. And if you see Dr. Green, tell him I said.
You finally reach the Citadel and must find your way inside in this platform segment. It's eerily quiet inside. It's as though nobody knows that you're here. You hop on this pod and are taken on a beautiful tour of this place. Eventually it drops you down into this room and strips you of all your weapons. But one of them refuses to be taken. Your gravity gun is given superpowers and is now much more powerful. You become an unstoppable super soldier as you're able to pick up and chuck the Combine themselves. All the while, Breen can be seen on the monitors trying to reason with you. As you progress through this level and beat wave after wave of Combine, he gets increasingly frustrated and desperate. The healing stations on the walls are super powered and charge you up quickly and to 200% charge.
You have destroyed so much. What is it exactly that you have created?
This sequence ends with a long hallway where you've got to use your energy balls to take down a strider. Then you hop on another pod. But you're spotted and are taken to the top of the Citadel.
Don't struggle, it's no use.
Gordon Freeman at last. What's this? I'll put it over there.
There are a lot of cutscenes in this bit, but to summarise, Breen holds all the cards now that he's captured you, Eli and Alex. Well, you kind of captured yourself, but whatever. But Judith betrays him and sets you free.
Hurry!
You fool!
Watch out, he's gonna—
No!
Come on, Gordon. Let's go.
My girl.
You and Alex chase Dr. Breen, but he manages to escape. And from the conversations you hear him having, it sounds like he's going to be put into a host body to let him survive somewhere that's not like Earth.
Shit.
Damn it, not again!
Alex says her farewells to you, and you return the favour with a nod or something. Then it's on to the final boss fight. You must clear power generators and hop from platform to platform as you race Dr. Breen to the top.
If only you had harnessed your boundless energy for a useful purpose.
Once there, you're attacked by gunships and must destroy all of the shields surrounding the reactor core.
No!
Yes! We've got to get out of here. Maybe we still have—
Time, Dr. Freeman? Is it really that time again? You've done so well, in fact, that I've received some interesting offers for your services. I will take the liberty of choosing for you. This is where I get off.
And after the credits is this clip.
Lamar? Blast that little— Where did she get to?